Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Greek TV's News English edition. Lloyd's list with the top 100 ship owners globally has been published, showing 14 Greeks in the ranks. 3 Greeks are in the top 10. More specifically, making the lists are Yannis Angelikousis, Angeliki Frangou, Giorgos Ikonomou, Petros Livanos, Giorgos Prokopiou, Theodoros Veniamis, Konstantinos Konstantakopoulos, Nikos Tsakos, Petros Georgiopoulos, Ευάγγελος Μαρινάκης, Σιμεών Παλιός, Πέτρος Παπάς, Δημήτρης Μελισανίδης, and Χαράλαμπος Φαφαλιός. It should be noted that in the first 3 months of 2013, the purchase of ships made by Greek ship owners increased by 90%, as against a global increase of 46%. Greeks bought 88% more bulk carriers, 18% more tankers, and 533% more container ships. In absolute values, Greeks bought 74 ships in the first quarter of 2013, as against 39 during the same period last year. During the same time, Greek ship owners invested $848 million in their companies. The Island Tourism Entrepreneurship Scheme is offering significant opportunities for funding, as islanders and prospective investors will be financed with a total of 80 million euros for 165 different professions in 8 sectors. Loans from the funding will be without interest for businesses on islands with fewer than 3,000 inhabitants, while for islands with a larger population, interest will stand at 2.8%. The funding will cover businesses that produce edible consumables, refreshment beer or bottled water, perfumes and candles, decorative items, retail trade, vehicle rentals, including seaborne vehicles, tourism services involving food service, entertainment, and function organization. Each business can receive up to 30,000 euros in financing with a 4-year repayment period, as long as recipients are based in Greece. For entrepreneurial development loans, recipients must be based on the specific islands, while for investment loans, recipients could be based anywhere in Greece as long as their investments are on the islands. The activities that will be chosen will be prioritized according to if they deal with establishing, revamping, renewing, or renovating buildings and facilities, machinery and infrastructure, tech know-how and royalties, system certification, promotion and advertising, and fiscal and commercial activities. The former king of Greece, Constantine II, who in recent months has been seen walking around the streets of Athens, has repeatedly denied political ambitions. However, he has decided to leave his luxurious apartment in London and come back home. His son, Prince Nikolaos, and his wife, Princess Tatiana, made the same move a few months back. Time heals all wounds, they say. People are not so passionate against the decision made by the former king of Greece as they would have been some decades ago. Moreover, political differences seem to have been also eased out, since Prince Nikolaos is now renting an apartment that belongs to Sofia Papandreou, the daughter of former socialist leader Andreas Papandreou, who had always been against the return of the royal family to Greece. The government has tabled 4 criteria in order for households in the red to avoid mortgage foreclosures that will be included in the foreclosure bill that was tendered on Thursday. The transitional regulation, which met with IMF approval, foresees that foreclosures will be forestalled if all of the following criteria are met. These include that the value of the primary home does not exceed 200,000 euros, that family income after deductions and taxes is less than 35,000 euros, that total property value is less than 270,000 euros, and there is a minimum monthly payment at a sum to be set depending on earnings. The bill that reached Parliament on Thursday is expected to be voted in on Saturday. It is transitional in nature, and it will be replaced for 2015 with permanent legislation on mortgage foreclosures. Supreme Court prosecutor Efterpi Koutsamani called the decision to let 42 defendants in the stock market bubble case provocative. The prosecutor also said that she's waiting for the decision to be registered so she can proceed to lifting it, asking at the same time to be handed the decision as soon as possible. As she told the press, she wanted to look at the judge's opinions, as she was not party to the evidence on which these decisions were based, since, as she noted, prosecutors in the case had told her there was abundant evidence for establishing the charges. Ms. Koutsamani did warn that the registration of the court decision may take up to 6 months, meaning that the clock of the statute of limitations would start ticking, as the trial deadline for such misdeeds is 15 years. The case reached its final, if disappointing, verdict 13 years after the huge scandal with the stock market, in which thousands upon thousands of small-time investors lost their savings and even more, while Social Security Fund's assets were essentially looted in order to fund Boers' speculation. Despite the expectation for more severity in the decision of justice for a scandal that rocked Greece, the decision that shocked the public declared all defendants not guilty. This transformed the stock exchange scandal into a judicial scandal, as the court found all 42 defendants not guilty of felonious charges. More specifically, the court opined that the charges for fraud did not stand, as there was no evidence showing that the sale for the stock packages in question influenced their final price on the stock exchange listing during the period in question. Former New Democracy Transportation Minister Michalis Liapis was arrested after running a stop sign in Agia Paraskevi. The man that was at the helm of the Transportation Ministry during many of the changes in mass transport was found to have counterfeit license plate, no driver's license, and the vehicle was uninsured. Mr. Liapis faced prosecutors at Central Athens courts on Evelpidon Street in handcuffs. The man, who was once the director of the elder Karamanlis' political bureau and his favorite nephew, was found to have tendered the vehicle license plates into the tax bureau in order to avoid paying road tax on his expensive SUV. Greece has achieved an unprecedented fiscal achievement, Finance Minister Yannis Tournaras said in a videotaped message on the 13th Investment Forum Capital Link on Tuesday. Greece is implementing the most challenging economic adjustment program of modern history, Tournaras said, adding that the country is suffering an era of opportunity and will claim a significant place in the global economy. Over the last 17 months, the government has accelerated fiscal consolidation, improved competitiveness, and implemented structural reforms in several sectors, he noted, while the primary deficit has declined by about 10% of GDP, the biggest and fastest ever recorded adjustment by an OECD economy. The discussion in Parliament on a proposal tendered by main opposition Syriza for a committee of inquiry on the issue of the submarines for the Hellenic Navy has caused sparks to fly. Syriza Speaker Theodoris Dritsas focused his address on the law passed in 2010 when Evangelos Venizelos was defense minister, which, as he said, was not beneficial for public interest since it neither saved the shipyards nor did it produce offsets expected. Mr. Dritsas retorted to criticism that Syriza was trying to dismantle PASOK by saying that the main opposition was not scrutinizing the president of PASOK, but the minister responsible at that time. On the part of the government, Mr. Kostas Tasoulas from New Democracy accused Syriza of using the proposal to serve political purposes and nothing more, while PASOK deputy Panagiotis Rigas accused the main opposition of constructing hypotheses from hearsay from jailed felons and persons who switched parties going over to Syriza. However, both government deputies left innuendos about the benefits of the law promulgated in 2010. Syriza is trying to corner the government coalition parties on 2 counts. One will be the revelations with which Evangelos Venizelos has threatened Syriza leader Alexis Tsipras, and the other has to do with the coverage the Prime Minister will provide for the leader of PASOK. The dilemma for the Premier will be how much he will cover the leader of PASOK, since significant party cadres had stigmatized the deal when it was promulgated back in 2010, calling it a scandal. According to a study of the issue put together by the Syriza deputy, Theodoris Dritsas, the state has lost over 260 million euros on the non-completion of the offset agreements, not including VAT and taxes in arrears, as well as wages lost for workers at the Hellenic shipyards at Skaramangas. The issue is expected to cause heavy turbulence in Parliament, as Syriza will tender queries on the real ownership of the shipyards, while it will also ask to review a letter sent by Mr. Venizelos to his successor, Mr. Avramopoulos, in December 2011, in retort to an earlier missive from the latter when Mr. Venizelos was defense minister. The Ways and Means statements of Greek politicians were submitted by the Hellenic Parliament, showing small deviations downwards from last year's. From among party leaders, Prime Minister Adonis Samaras and PASOK President Evangelos Venizelos continue to show the same assets, while Golden Dawn leader Nikos Michaloliakos, Syriza's Alexis Tsipras, and Communist Party Alexis Papariga show their least. The Prime Minister and his wife own 13 properties and 3,500 shares of Anel and Smart Store, respectively. Mr. Samaras states that his parliamentary remuneration was just under 100,000 euros, down from 111,000 a year ago, while his wife registered an income of 52,000 euros. The aggregate savings stand at around 300,000 euros. On the side of main opposition, Alexis Tsipras stated a parliamentary remuneration of 72,000 euros as against 81,000 last year, and also 1,740 euros from other sources. He also showed ownership of a 110 square meter home gifted by parents in 1996. A 650cc motorcycle bought in 2007 for 7,300 euros has been stricken off the list. PASOK leader Evangelos Venizelos shows parliamentary remuneration of 94,000 euros as against nearly 102,000 last year, with his spouse's income being 55,000 euros. The couple has impressive savings accounts, although much less than last year, standing at 1.6 million euros, 84,000 UK pounds, and 129,000 US dollars. Mr. Venizelos owns 11 properties and his wife another 16. Ms. Bakatselos, his wife, is shown to have bought European bank bonds to the tune of 129,000 euros. Independent Greeks leader Panos Kamenos declared 86,000 euros as parliamentary remuneration, 75,000 euros from rents, and just under 10,000 from legal fees. Along with his wife, he has 9 properties and shares of H. Kamenos SA worth 161,000 euros. The couple show very small sums in bank accounts. He also has 2 cars, one of which has been immobilized, and an 8.5 meter long boat. Golden Dawn leader Nikos Michaloliakos shows a smaller income than his spouse Eleni Zaroulia, 24,000 and 33,000 euros respectively. The couple show a total of 10 properties and 26,000 in bank accounts, as well as a car of 1,600 cc's. The MAR president, Fotis Kouvelis, declared close to 89,000 euros from parliamentary remuneration and his spouse an income of 15,000. Mr. Kouvelis shows ownership of 7 properties and some rights in 4 others, while his spouse also shows ownership of 5,000 shares of Capital X. Bank accounts with their children contain 120,000 euros, while the couple also own 3 cars. Communist Party former Secretary General Alexis Papariga is the poorest of the leaders, with a remuneration of 70,000 euros from Parliament and 42,000 euros from other sources. She also owns a 90 square meter apartment, but owns no vehicles. The 75-page Black Book of the Memorandum was handed by Syriza leader Alexis Tsipras to Europe Parliament deputies responsible for the Troika Inquiry Report. The Troika is an institution without democratic legitimacy, said Mr. Tsipras, after meeting in Strasbourg with Austrian Europarliament deputy Othmar Karas and French Europarliament deputy Liem Hoang Nong. Mr. Tsipras underscored for the 2 deputies that the continuation of the same policy will only fuel Euroscepticism and populism, and will lead to a rise of Golden Dawn neo-Nazis in Greece and other European countries. Mr. Tsipras requested that the breadth and time of the investigation be extended and noted that the results of the survey will be especially important in highlighting the wrong choices, who's responsible, and what must really change. The European Parliament launched the inquiry into the role of the EU, ECB, IMF Troika. The Committee of Inquiry, which is led by Deputy Othmar Karas, is expected to complete its report before European elections next May. Mr. Tsipras will be handing the Black Book also to Commissioner Olli Rehn. Snow at northern Greece's ski resorts remains at marginal levels, but the ski resorts of Vasilitsa, Triapede Pigaglia and Pisoderi have enough snow to be open. 3 ski lifts are operating at Vasilitsa in the Grevenea area, while in Pisoderi, near Florina, which has only 40 centimeters of snow, the only lift in operation is the baby lift. Snow quality in Triapede Pigaglia near Nausa is excellent due to the artificial snow system. A total of 23 snow cannons are producing snow and providing excellent conditions for skiing. At the Elatahori Skiing Center in the Pieria area, only an airlift is in operation, allowing visitors to tour the resort. Even under these conditions, visitors can enjoy a full day in the snow. Tour walks are available for families and people who don't want to ski but want to enjoy snow in other ways. Hopefully the weather will help over the next few days and people may enjoy a lot of snow in Greece's ski resorts during the Christmas holidays. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us for this English Edition news. Tune in next week. This was Themis Styliopoulos for New Greek TV. Merry Christmas.